We tend to treat democracy as sacred. The word itself conjures images of freedom, equality, and progress. Modern nations wear it like a badge of honor and often look to ancient Athens as democracy's birthplace, a shining beacon of enlightened governance. But here's a twist. One of Athens' most celebrated minds, Socrates, the very man who laid the groundwork for Western philosophy, was deeply skeptical of democracy. That might sound shocking. After all, how could the city that birthed both philosophy and democracy also produce such fierce criticism of it? In Plato's Republic, we find Socrates in conversation with a man named Adeimantus. To make his point, Socrates turns to a vivid metaphor. Imagine you're about to embark on a sea voyage, a storm is brewing. Who would you want steering the ship? Just anyone. Or someone trained in navigation? Someone who understands the sea, the stars, the winds? Obviously, the skilled sailor. So why, Socrates asks, do we think anyone and everyone is qualified to choose a nation's leaders? Why do we assume that political judgment requires no special training? For Socrates, democracy confuses popularity with wisdom. He believed that making political choices is not a matter of gut feeling or personal preference. It's a skill, just like sailing. And skills must be taught, practiced, refined. Without education, critical thinking, and self-examination, voting becomes a dangerous game of guesswork. Worse still, it opens the door to demagogues, charismatic figures who manipulate the masses with emotion, not reason. They say what people want to hear, not what they need to hear. Socrates wasn't speaking in abstractions. He lived through the consequences. In 399 BC, at the height of Athenian democracy, Socrates was put on trial. The charges? Corrupting the youth and disrespecting the city's gods. But in truth, he was condemned for asking uncomfortable questions, for challenging authority, and for forcing people to think. A jury of 500 citizens, average, everyday Athenians, voted to execute him. By a slim margin, they chose to silence the gadfly of Athens. He drank the poison hemlock and died not at the hands of tyrants, but under a democratic system. To Socrates, this was the ultimate irony. Democracy, meant to reflect the will of the people, had become a tool for punishing reason. Now, to be clear, Socrates wasn't a snob. He didn't argue that only the wealthy or noble-born should vote. What he did believe is that people should earn the right to participate in politics through effort, reflection, and education. In other words, an intellectual democracy, not just a democracy of birthright. Today, we often treat the right to vote as something automatic, something you're given, not something you cultivate. But Socrates would have asked, are we wise enough to use it? We've come to equate democracy with justice, but for Socrates, democracy without wisdom is just another path to chaos. Without a thoughtful, informed public, it's all too easy for voices of reason to be drowned out by loud slogans and viral sound bites. That's the danger he saw over 2,000 years ago. And it's one that still echoes today. Socrates wasn't against the people. He was for them, so much so that he wanted them to think, to question, to grow. To see that being a citizen isn't just a right, it's a responsibility. So the next time we hear that the people have spoken, maybe we should also ask, were they taught to speak with wisdom? That's a question Socrates would want us to answer before the next vote is cast.